Hi everybody, thanks for joining me for Coffee and Card at Home. So today we have had our Zoom session making these two cards here. So I've ended up referring to them as a cluster of Christmas trees because kind of it is a Christmas tree grouped together. So obviously you can come up with some different looking cards by how you cluster them and that kind of thing. And I'm going to show you how to use the Perfectly Plaid stamp set, which is our stamp set that we've been using for the past 3 weeks, and that coordinates with the pine tree punch. So let's get started. So what we're going to need is our card base, which is Rich Razzleberry. Let's put those to the side. And that's a C6 card base, which is then half an A4 sheet and then scored halfway at 10.5 centimetres to give us the fold. So hi Tracy, thanks for joining me. Are you crafting along tonight, Tracy, or are you just watching? There we go, so I've got my card base done. And then I've also got a piece of basic white, which I'm going to be stamping my trees onto. So I'm just going to grab my first tree. So I'm using the tree outline, and then we're using this stamp to fill it in with our coloured ink. So I don't blame you, Tracy. I feel like today's been a long day as well, so I might not be far behind you. Right, so just find my stamp. So those are the two stamps I'm going to use, and I'm going to do my outline in black. So I decided to make this card all coordinating with the purple, the Rich Razzleberry, but actually some of the ladies this morning in our Zoom session decided that they wanted to go for multicoloured trees, so there is nothing to stop you from doing that if you want to do that. And actually some of theirs turned out really nicely actually. So I'm hoping I can get all of my 5 trees on. It looks like I'm not going to get them all on this strip of card. So I must have stamped them a bit far apart, because earlier on I had exactly the same size piece of card and I fitted them all on. So just bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to find a scrap that I can use for the other one. So if I'd stamped them a bit close together, they would have all fitted on. But I've obviously been a bit generous with how far apart I've placed them. So there we go. So all my outline's done. And then I'm going to use Rich Razzleberry ink to coordinate with it, but what we're going to do is we're going to make it lighter by doing some first, second and third generation stamping. So all that basically means is that we're going to ink up our stamp to begin with, and this is a little bit fiddly finding the right place for this to go on when it's inked up. But it is a case of just trying your best. Oh, it's not too far off. Then I'm not going to re-ink. I'm just going to go straight on with the next tree. And then I'm going to go again. So this now is third generation. And you can see that's really pale. You might not even see it quite on the camera. It's very pale. So I'm just going to finish off with the last 2 trees. I'm just going to go So full strength again for this one. Oh, and that's spot on. It's amazing how sometimes you do it and you can have it just placed perfectly, and other times not quite. So I usually try and line up from the top and then kind of follow it down. When I think I'm all lined up, then I go for it. Yeah, that one's not come out too badly either, so sometimes it is a bit of potluck. So I've got all my trees stamped. The next thing that I'm going to do whilst I'm stamping is I'm going to bring back my card base and I'm going to stamp my sentiments. So I've used the big Merry Christmas and may this special season be wrapped in love and joy. Now on that one, I did my big one at the top and my small one at the bottom. It's up to you which way around you want to do it. And I'm also using Blackberry Bliss rather than black. I just thought it was a little bit more subtle on the background, but it was a bit darker than Rich Razzleberry, so it shows up a little bit better. So I'm just going to stamp my Merry Christmas first of all, just using my grid lines to help me keep it straight. And then same with my other one. Just going to use my grid lines at the bottom. Let's try and line that up. There we go, and then that can go away. And that's all my stamping done then. So next I'm going to grab my punch and I'm going to get all my trees punched out. Now because I've used a small piece of card on this one, I haven't got much to hold on to it with, so I'm just going to put a post-it note on there, and then that just helps me to hold it in the punch a little bit easier. There we go. Apologies for my noisy dog. I have no idea what she's barking at. She tends to do that from time to time. There's actually nothing there, but she just decides to bark at something. Right, so let's get all these other trees punched out. It's just a little bit fiddly just getting them lined up. You need to obviously just double check you've got both sides lined up, because the stamp is not completely symmetrical. Obviously they'd want to make it look like a kind of natural tree shape, but if you were to fold it in half, it isn't quite symmetrical, so that's why you just need to be a bit careful when you're lining it up. And there's the last one. Okay, so I've got my 5 trees now. So somehow I've managed to get a gem on my hand. How has that happened? It's obviously come from somewhere. Is it off my card? No. So just a random gem has appeared from somewhere. So let me just get rid of that. And now it doesn't want to come off. Right, okay, now this next bit is entirely up to you how you want to layer them. What I did do is I put the 3 in the background just flat on the card by just gluing those. So just a little bit of Tombow on the back so you don't need very much. And then just gone with one, pop that in the centre of my card, and then another one, so slightly lower down and overlapping. And then the same on the other side. And then these two are just going to be raised up. Now, if you want to post it, obviously you might be thinking you don't want to do that because you want to try and keep it flat for posting. That's absolutely fine. If that doesn't worry you too much, then obviously Dimensionals give it a little bit more of a 3D look. So I'm just using up some of my dimensional scraps, which is why they're a little bit of an unusual shape. I have to say with Dimensionals, I never waste anything. I always use the edges. So just about 3 on each works. Take those backs off. So I'm just going to put that slightly in front of that one. And then that one. So like I say, you could go for different colours, or you could go for different patterns on your trees. It's entirely up to you, and then the way that you organise them as well makes a difference. One of the ladies this morning actually did an extra tree, because what she quite liked was having 3 at the back, then 2, then 1 at the front. And actually the way she'd done the colours of her trees as well worked really well like that. So good suggestion if you want to do something a little bit different. And then the only thing just to finish off with is I have a tiny silver star just to pop on the top. And just because it's a little less fiddly, I have got a glue dot that I can pop on the back of that. And that is just going to go in my centre tree. And then now it's time for my gems to make an appearance. See if I can find that one from before that's ended up getting stuck to everything else but not the card. And I've just put I'm losing all the bits under my desk. I'm just going to put 1 on each corner, and then you can actually put some on the tree as well if you want to. So I might just dot a few on this one, just dot a few around. So you don't need loads, but this might be a nice, just a nice way to finish it off. So I say I don't need loads, and then I'm actually putting quite a few on. One of those things, isn't it, that you start and then you think, oh, I just need another one. Just maybe have another one, and then before you know it, you've got lots on there. For some reason I've got 2 stuck together there as well. See if I can just separate those. There we go. I think that will do. Otherwise I'll just go way too over the top. But then again, it is Christmas. You can never have too much sparkle, can you? So right, so if I just bring the other 2 back as well, you'll see that they're all ever so slightly different just by the placement of the trees. So you can really play around with that and decide what you want to do with that one. But I hope that's giving you another suggestion, I think that's probably the right word, of what to do with the stamp set. So we've now had 4 different cards, all very different over the past 4 weeks, and that is our final card for this series of coffee and cards. So next month we're not actually doing any more Christmas cards, because I thought most people will have made them all by now and actually be on to writing them and sending them. So technically this is the last Christmas cards that I will make now. I'm hoping I have enough. And then next month we are using just reminded myself of it because it's on my desk all ready to go. The Flowers of Friendship stamp set is what we're using, and actually that's a nice one because it's a really good one for thank yous, which of course I thought might be useful for people to have a batch of thank yous ready to hand out after Christmas. So just a quick recap of what we've used. We've used a Rich Razzleberry card base, and then we had a scrap of basic white just for our stamping. Then for our stamping we have stamped in Memento black ink and then coloured in the trees with Rich Razzleberry stamped off twice, so it gave us first, second and third generation. And then we have stamped our sentiment in Blackberry Bliss, and then just finished off with a few silver rhinestones and a silver foil mini star on the top. And of course everything we've done this month has been using the Perfectly Plaid stamp set with a pine tree punch that matches with it. So if there's anything you would like to get hold of to have a go at recreating it yourself, or you've got any further questions, do give me a shout, drop me a message, and I will do my best to help you. So thanks for joining me. Thank you, Tracy. I hope you get a chance to catch up at the weekend. And yeah, definitely time to get everything in the post, isn't it? Ready to get them out to people. So I will see you next time for a non-Christmassy coffee and card. Take care. Have a good week. Bye.